you so much for joining in. Last week was sort of a disaster, but it worked out okay. As many of you know, I couldn't make it home on time. They shut my whole neighborhood down because of crime. And I did an audio show, which I was happy with. Great caller. Thank you again. And they did let me back into my own home, and my German Shepherd and my Golden Retriever held down the fort, and nobody robbed my house. So thank you again for joining in. Post-election, the election is over, and some of you are crying, some of you are celebrating, and at the end of the day, we are a united nation. Let's not forget that. And at the end of the day, as I like to say, we are the cause of the outcome of our life. Now, I recognize that politicians and government and rules and roles and regulations, they do assert a certain level of control over our lives. However, there's nothing really we could do about it other than what we did, which is cast our vote, have a voice, and live our life and believe in what we stand for, and then back what we believe that we stand for and get involved. Okay. Short of that, everyone listening after the election still got up, ate breakfast, went to the bathroom, I hope, maybe with assistance, maybe with no assistance. We're still here, we're still working, hopefully gainfully employed. We're still exercising, we're still hopefully engaging with the things that we love, our families, etc. And so please, let's roll it back and take charge of our lives. Okay. So your life is your life, my life is my life. And I like to liken things to the stock market. You know, the good old stock market goes up and down. And what do we do when the stock market is down? Well, if you're smart, hopefully you will buy stock. Okay. What do you do if the real estate market is down? Hopefully you will buy real estate. What do you do when things are up? Hopefully you'll either hang on or reinvest or sell and realize the profits. So every political climate comes with the yin and the yang, the good and the bad. So let's step back for a minute and capitalize on the climate and make it work for us. And I can't tell you how to do that because I'm not the most political savvy person in the world, but I can tell you that every era has advantages and disadvantages. And I want you to seek them out, and I want them to make it work um, for you. But I want to go back to my mind map because my mind map is a pathway to healing, a pathway to being the cause of the outcome of your life. And whether you're a Republican or Democrat, right, left, I don't know, um, let's play a better game of life. And for sure, we don't want to end up in panel number 5, which is the isms. So let's bring panel 5 back. And panel 5 is a metaphor, is let's use it as republicanism, democracyism, America, China, Japan, Arab, Israeli, all of the divisionals of the entire globe. Remember, the mind map was at one point called Join the Human Race, Healing Global Disconnect. And now we have a task in front of us, and the task is to heal the American divide. And like it or not, we are entitled to have different opinions. We are entitled to think and feel differently. But in my opinion, we're not entitled to smash and hurt each other because of that. That's just unacceptable because after panel 5, what do you see on the mind map? You can see that if we become so divisional, you know, there's nothing wrong with isms. Isms are your own unique expression of who you are, your religion, your culture, your politics, your race, all of that. But if we start isming hard against each other, what are we going to have? We're going to have panel number 6, which is a clash of the isms. And we do not want a clash of the isms, trust me. So I say, simmer down, everyone. Take a breath and make some rules for yourself that you're not going to allow your politics, your religion, your ism to divide you from other human beings unless they're just so cruel to you and they've taken such an ism stance that it's ruining your life or it's violent or at that point of course you've got to put up your walls. So let's just say that we are divided and let's try to find our panel number 7, which is really really difficult to find. So if you look at panel number 7, this is my model for a united humanity. This is my model today for a united nation. So, how are we going to take democratic, Republican thinking and different isms, cultures, religions, ideas, ideals, and find the light? Sometimes it just doesn't work that way. Sometimes one ism cancels the other, and then, as I explained, there's a clash of the ism and a breakdown, and then there is panel number 6, which is a metaphor for a total breakdown or world war, the ultimate breakdown, end of things, or clash in terms of some kind of a violence. And I'm a pretty peace loving person, as I hope you are too. And the last thing we want is to incite riot, whether it be emotional riot or physical riot. I'm not a fan of inciting anything. And I am a fan of finding ways to be the cause. That's what I stand for. Be the cause, healing human disconnect. So I want to take this a little bit to a new level. So if indeed we are divided, and we're always divided about something, even if family is divided, mother or father may be divided, they may even be divorced, they may even live in different households. There's always a family divide where somebody doesn't get along with the other. So are we are we surprised that there's a universal divide between people? Are we surprised that there are national divisional lines? I mean, for God's sakes, we can't even get along with our families. We can't even get along with our spouses. We can't even get along all the time with our children. And some of the people that I've treated at the Psychological Healing Center come to see me because it's so severe that the clash and the fallout result in a divorce or result in such narcissistic injuries that people can't find a way to the light. So let us be smart. Let us be proactive. Let us find the light. And whether we have Trump leading the country or Kamala leading the country or whoever is leading the country, remember, we are leading our own lives. Okay. So, in spite of who's politically in charge or globally in charge, we need to get our family matters and our emotional politics, if you will, in order. So, what do I mean by emotional politics? Our belief systems, our ideas, our ideals, our haves, our have-nots. So as long as we're clear on them, then we use those as bastions of how we are going to unfold and live our lives. So let me give an example. So let's say that you're of a religious belief, then there are rules and roles within that religion that give you guidance insofar as how you're going to behave. Let's say that you're of a certain culture, then there are going to be certain behaviors and certain ways that you interface with each other in a family that lead you to act a certain way or discipline your children in a certain way or communicate with your loved ones in a certain way or celebrate certain things. I know I tend to be on the ideal end, but I always envisioned a united humanity where instead of clashing with our isms, we're actually bringing the light to each other. So I want to hear from you. How are you going to bring your light? If you're a Democrat, how are you going to bring your light to a Republican? If you're a Republican, how are you going to bring your light to a Democrat? I'm choosing today to bring my light to all human beings and just say, let's play a better game of life, no matter what side of the fence you are on. So I want to hear from you. What are you going to do about it? The election is over, and now you've got your life to live. And now your neighbor may be a Democrat or a Republican. You could choose to never talk to them again. You could choose to be pissed off at them for voting against your vote. Do you really want to do that? Isn't there light between people other than their belief systems? We've had a pretty brutal last few years where everybody is divided and against, and we have splintered and splintered and splintered. I definitely see it on my social media. Democrats hate Republicans, Republicans hate Democrats, but let's stop it, okay? Stop it, everyone. And who are you? What light do you want to bring to other human beings? So let's for a second get off of the isms and start looking at who you are and how you're going to bring it. So in the next season, whether it be next year, next 4 years, whatever it is, what is it that you want to see for yourself? You want to see yourself um, cutting back on food prices? Well, let's talk about how to be the cause just on that matter, okay? Just on that matter. Food prices too high? Well, guess what? If food prices are too high, why don't we start exploring ways to plant a garden, grow our own vegetables, choose foods that are nutritious in value so we get more for our money? We can have foods too high because we're eating at McDonald's and we're drinking our cafe lattes and mochas, and that's going to jack up our food prices. Or we can have reasonable food prices because we're the cause and we're picking organic vegetables. We're picking foods that are high in protein value. We're picking things that are quality. So let's talk about quality versus quantity of food that costs a lot of money. So wouldn't that be a better game of life if everything is out there is double, triple, blah, blah, then let's go back to simple eating. I'm trying really hard. I want to eat simply because I know that if I don't eat simply, you know, my life is going to cost me a lot of money, medical care and lowering my blood pressure and my cholesterol level, and my sugar levels, and everything is out of balance. So, can we agree that uh, eating properly is at the end of the day less expensive? Long run, less expensive. We could take something else. We could take exercise. Oh my God, I'm spending so much money on clothes because I'm trying to um, be a good fit for how my clothes fit on me. Well, why not concentrate on walking more? Or doing more yoga or lifting more weights, weight bearing exercises. Yes, if you have money, go to the gym, get a personal trainer, and on and on. Some people can do it, some people can't. And ultimately, you're the cause of your life. So if you want to get a couple of dumbbells and strengthen yourself and do some squats and do it on your own or do some stretches, then no matter who's helping you or not, you're being causal. Okay, so let's go back to the mind map for a moment and remember we are all injured beings. So, panel one is the light that we want to manifest in our own being. That light is what we share with other human beings. The shadows shadowing over us are all the things that keep us separated from our light. And as we get more and more separate, we start shattering and we start removing ourselves from our own best of our best. And that would be panel number two. So, look, we're moving away from the light, we're shattering, we're reacting, and then we're encoding a bunch of bad blueprints. So, if you look at panel number three, the first round of blueprint is let's call it the blueprint gone wrong. Okay, and when the blueprint goes wrong, it doesn't sustain itself, it falls apart. Okay, whether the system is a family system or a political system or a global political system, if it's not built correctly, it's going to fall apart. So we have to look at the internal mechanism of whatever system, call it what you will, and start thinking about how it's built. And so if we have systems that promote health, if we have systems that promote boundaries, if we have systems that promote exercise and education, if we have systems that promote good communication skills, these are the systems that are going to sustain itself. So no matter what party we are in or coming out of, we still have to build these sustainable systems. And it's a good thing that systems gone wrong fall apart, because if they fall apart, then we have another chance to rebuild. So if you look at panel number three, whatever we did as a United States fell apart, okay, because it's now we're in chaos and we're in chaos and now we're trying to reshuffle the deck and reorganize ourselves. I mean, let's face it, if everything was so hunky dory, then it would have been sustainable and it would have created growth and it would have created expansion. But when things do not create growth and expansion, please fall apart, okay? Please do. And fall apart so that we have opportunity, not because we're bad or not because we deserve it or not because um, you're meant to be punished, but just fall apart so that you can reshuffle the deck, think things through, create and be the cause of better systems, because we are all interconnected, whether we like it or not, and create sustainable systems that are going to support our own growth. So, if we go back to attachment theory and how to raise a healthy child, we raise a healthy child by helping them be dependent in the first few years of life. And then at a certain stage, we have to have them transition to independence. And we do have a question. Thank you so much. So, yes.
Yes. So if you do want to call in, please call in at 323-524-2599. Dr. G would love to speak with you because I know people get nervous about calling in, but this can be anonymous and just make a name up if you want to, but maybe get on the couch and see if we can fix the problem here. But the question is how can I manage my own emotions when dealing with loved ones who have made hurtful accusations like saying, I hate my country because I voted for somebody different?
Oh, so wait, they're accusing you of being bad because you chose something different? Is
So,
that what?
yeah, so let's say one person voted for Trump, person voted for Kamala, and they say, oh, you hate your country because you voted for one or the other.
Well,
How
that's
can
just,
how they say, how can they manage their own emotions?
well, you mean the person that's told that? So
Mm-hmm.
if you voted for Kamala or Trump and somebody says to you, well, because you did that, therefore you hate your country. Okay,
Yes.
that's a horrible thing to say because, first of all, one thing that I'm really sad about is that no matter who people vote for, I would really prefer if people say something like, well, what about that person makes you want, inspires you to vote for them? So I want to be heard and I want to hear the other person also. I want to hear their fears. I want to hear their hopes. I want to hear their wishes. But just a blatant statement of, you're a bad person because you voted for Kamala or you voted for Trump is ridiculous. Okay. And I wouldn't buy into it because it's not panel seven, is it? It's not an interconnected statement. A better would be like, why? What are your fears? Okay, so now that Trump is going to be our next president, what makes you think that he is scary? Or what, we've all heard, oh, he's the next Hitler, or he's the next dictator, he's going to take away your voting rights, he's going to threaten your gay marriage, or whatever it is. So okay, so like, okay, look, this guy's been president before, so we have a little bit of history. Or we could reverse it and say, like, what scares you about Kamala? And then people could speak to that. I'd just rather hear people speak to their fears and their beliefs and their disappointments. And we've got a lot of false information floating out there. And what's the most scary for me is that people are so invested in their isms that they're going to gaslight other people. They're going to bend the truth. They're going to take truth out of context and everything that we've been seeing. What is a campaign? A campaign is basically, let's make me look good and the other person bad. Isn't that what a campaign is about? It's just, remember the book. Probably most of you are too young, but I remember reading a book back in my high school days called The Making of a President by, I forgot his name, McClellan, something like that. But it was just that. It was how we package everything. It's like a sales job. If you want to make somebody good, you sell the audience on certain aspects. And what do you use? You use intimidation, you use hope, you use um, um, fear. That's a big one, okay? But what's not done is just clean information so that people can clearly decide for themselves. So that statement that you mentioned, oh, you're a bad person, you voted Trump. You're a bad person, you voted Kamala. I can't speak to somebody like that. Nothing to say. Like, oh, okay. Now, next step. Do you really think that you're a bad person? You know yourself. Did you vote for that candidate because you're evil and you want to manipulate people? Did you vote for that candidate because you're so invested in your own best interests that you don't care about other people? Like, what is it? So, if that's so, then it's time to self-reflect on it and self-correct on it and take a look at your own philosophies and reasons. So that's where we need to go, is understand each other. That's really, really crucial. Like in a marriage, if somebody has a difference of opinion, what's the use of saying, well, I want that, well, I want that, and I want that, and I want that? What are you going to have? A big clash of the isms. No matter whether it's government, politics, or a family, it's the same concept. If the system goes wrong, it goes south. Okay? Like in a bad relationship, if there are no boundaries. I think one of the reasons Trump won is because the country was boundaryless. That's pretty scary. Imagine your home being boundaryless. I live in a home with a gate and two dogs. I've got boundaries, and that's what makes me sleep well at night. So if my home was just exposed, um, I don't think I'd sleep well. So, what are the healthy elements of any sort of a system? We've got to have rules and roles, and as I mentioned, boundaries. We've got to um, have a good communication system. We have to agree to disagree. We have to have bright people analyze the situation to see indeed what is the best source of fuel, what economists analyzing the entire economic system to figure out what is best. Like, after all, if we truly are a family, a United States family, then don't you want to have a system that's going to work for people? That's what we want, a system that's going to work for people. I know that we're different people, but again, there's some basic principles, okay? If we foster too much dependency, we're going to cripple ourselves. We just are. Okay. If we're building systems that create dependency on too many governmental agency, we're going to cripple ourselves. On the other hand, if we don't have some form of help of other people, then that's not a good balance either. So we need something that's a balance, but that helps people to grow, not helps them to um, become codependent on a government so that they stay stuck. The best parents are not authoritarian and they're not laissez faire. They're parents who are encouraging their children to grow. They give them just enough boundaries so that they can um, self direct eventually. But at the beginning, all children need direction. You can't just say, do whatever you want, think whatever you want. That's not going to work. Any other questions in that chat room?
There's a lot of comments, and I'm looking through here. Yes, and okay, it says, what are some tools or strategies for rebuilding trust with someone who may view my politics stance as a personal behavior? Does that make sense? Did I read
Not
it right?
really. No, say it again.
What are some tools or strategies for rebuilding trust with someone who may view my political stance as my personal behavior?
Maybe you can't. I mean, if they're projecting all of that and everything on you that you're bad just because, I don't see any room for rebuilding anything. Do you, Tony? Am I missing something?
Yeah, I
If I
agree.
if I paint you uh the devil because you voted for Kamala, okay?
Hmm.
Then like, okay, so there goes our relationship. Nice to know you. Bye. But is that all that we could be as two people? I don't think so. Because there are other things that we could be other than you voted this and I voted that, or you're right, or like, there's still so much creativity and so much kindness and so much support and so much business. And so, like, let's not be idiots and throw away the baby with the bathwater. Isn't that kind of stupid?
I agree. I agree.
Right?
I
So,
agree.
that's a pretty big knife, right? Just say, cut.
But there's and this is just for even my personal, like I've seen people, because of how I feel, have said, "Oh, you're delusional. You're being poisoned." And I feel like I'm a pretty intelligent guy. I feel like I've make, pretty good decisions, and own a business and have a happy marriage.
Yep.
But to say I'm poisoned makes me feel like, they're questioning my ability to think for myself. And so it is kind of I remember, I don't know if you, but 20 years ago, 15 years ago, friends of mine that they would be on one side and I'd be on the other, and we'd have a debate, but we would walk away friends. For some reason, the last 10 years, people just don't like just to debate, like you said, like, oh, okay, how do you feel? Oh, okay, I see your point. But people don't do that anymore. They go straight to either, if you think Trump, you're a racist, or if you think Kamala, you're a communist. And so you're like, it
Right.
they go to the extreme. It's like having an unhealthy relationship fight. You just go to the biggest wound to
And
do.
nothing gets resolved. Nothing
Yes,
gets
I agree.
resolved. So I think there's certain basic things that have threatened us. Okay, so let's just talk about open borders. All
Hmm.
right, that's a threat. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. That's a threat. No, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. We shouldn't have an open border, but
Shouldn't have an open border. So there are a
yeah,
lot of Democrats that feel that we shouldn't have an open border, and there are a
right.
lot of Republicans that feel that We shouldn't have an open border. So we should get together and talk about how we're going to do that. Maybe our styles are different, but we shouldn't have an open look. I
Right.
don't care what you want to call me or you or anybody. We should not have an open border, period. And
Right.
how are we going to solve it? You're smart. I'm smart. A lot of people out there are smart. Let's figure it out.
I feel like when especially the Congress. Senate seems to be a little bit better, but Congress, it seems like it's watching mom and dad in a very unhealthy relationship that constantly battle and, like you said, throw salt on the wounds every single day. That's why I said it's hard to I think that's why I think a lot of people feel the way they do, because they see kind of the leadership completely acting like children, or are causing the fear. And so it's hard to. We used to be able to feel comfortable, at least in our government, majority of the people. Now we don't.
I think things have become so extreme in our
Yes,
country.
I agree.
People are led by fear, not by solution. So when we're led by fear, we just want to ism. It promotes ism. Like, okay, like if, you know, back in the day, we were so scared of the Vietnamese, right? They were so
Mm-hmm.
scared of Vietnamese people. Oh my God. So let's inter them in camps. Let's kill them all
Yeah.
because they were viewed as a threat. We didn't have a clean mind to understand that there are people with families and they're influenced by marching orders and all of that disappeared, right? The humanity disappeared. So the bigger the threat, the more dehumanized people become,
Right.
right? So if you say something and it's a big threat, let's say that somebody was raped by a sex trafficker who came across the border, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? How are they gonna think?
Of course, they're going to be traumatized and angry and hateful. I mean, they're going to. Yeah.
Right. So let's say you're a person that just wants to come to the country because you feel like you want protection for your
Yeah.
family.
And like most of us would.
Right. So there are two different types of people. So we're not talking about, we're just generalizing and saying they're the same.
Right.
Okay. But
But I
we
don't
have to
think
have,
people see past that. I think that's the problem. Is a lot of people, we've heard, they're sending us their worst. That's the problem. I think is they're sending us their worst. No, they're not. I mean, it's like my family. We have a decent sized family. There's
Mhm,
one bad apple of the whole family, but that
mhm.
shouldn't make the whole family a bad family.
Right, but we're not thinking straight. So,
Right. That's what I
and
mean.
another thing that makes me really sad is that if we just were more reasonable, not just as Americans, but internationally, then we can have better communication with Mexico and figure out ways to deal with people and to deal with whatever it is that's pressuring people to leave their country, but we don't.
Yeah.
So, so then we're kind of left to our own devices. So, okay, wouldn't it be better to sit down at a real unified global conference
Right.
and figure out,
Wouldn't that be nice?
yeah, I'd love to head that one up. That would be fun. I'd like to take my mind map out and say,
Maybe
shut
you
up.
should. Maybe you should. Maybe you should even
I
start.
would love it.
I think we should. Even if it starts with the local politicians, because local politicians can make just as big a difference as national. I think maybe we should put something together for the political side of Dr. Judy in the My Map series.
Well, I would love it, but people have said, don't talk about politics, Dr. Judy. You
Well, you
don't
don't
want
have to talk about
to talk
politics.
about
It's
systems. I want
yeah,
to talk about systems. I want to
right.
talk about peaceful healing dialogue. I
Right.
want to talk about inclusionary versus breakdown. And sometimes you do have to break down and face people. I'm
Oh, for
not saying
sure.
that that is not off the table.
Right.
Look, if somebody came into my home, I
Yeah.
am sorry. If they're going to loot and they're going to threaten my grandson, who's
Right.
my
No.
nice little guy, or my dogs,
Right. Right.
they're like my kids. I'm sorry, but I'm
I
not going to
agree.
be friendly. If I could, I would. Like, hey, come sit down. Who did this to you? Are you having panel one wounds? Was your father abusive? Is that
They
why you're doing
definitely would look at you funny.
Look, I mean, this is something that I remember a supervisor telling me that the reason somebody survived the Hillside Strangler, I think Richard Ramirez, was
Yes,
he?
Richard Ramirez.
Well, Richard Ramirez, and I hope this is fact and not just a bad version of my memory, but he broke into a woman's house, and instead of freaking out, she said, "Wow, who did this to you? Who did this to you?" And he sat down and started telling him his story of abuse. And he didn't kill her,
Hmm.
right? But who has the nerve to do that?
Yeah.
Even I, as a psychologist, what am I going to say? I know, before you shoot me,
Right.
let's talk.
Right.
Come to my office and get
Right.
on the couch with your emotional murderous ouch, okay? Well, let's have this out. Okay, so in that moment, my amygdala's going off, and I'm on fight and flight. No matter how much background I have, that's going to be humanly what happens to me.
Right.
Okay. So we're just not sophisticated, like I say, and I'll here. I've got it right here. Let me take it out, okay? We as a human, I'll edit it, edited version. Join the human race. The intention of my mind map was to create a system where people can unite. So we as a human race have soared to unlimited heights. Unlimited, we can go to the moon, and now Elon Musk wants to go to Mars, and we have amazing genius and potential, and we've got everything, okay? Except we're retarded when it comes to united humanity. Boy, are we ever retarded. It's the saddest thing in the world to me because we need more geniuses to put together systems of healing this broken world. I'll toss in my coin here. Of course I would. I love that kind of stuff. That's how I started my whole passion. Join the human race, healing global disconnect, healing human disconnect. And we can't heal globally until we heal individually. Okay, so and then we haven't even begun to shrink. Why did people vote for Kamala versus Trump? What childhood injuries or what childhood strengths led people to project on Kamala certain qualities and to project on Trump certain qualities? This is aside from really what they bring to the table as their light, okay? Because if we have mommy issues or daddy issues, we're going to see Kamala and Trump through different lenses, cracked lens of perception. Okay, not just truly what they're saying. And then there's no ability to really connect to the goodness of them because already we're put off because they trigger us. Does
Right.
that make sense?
It does make sense. Yes.
So then there's no growth, there's no learning, there's no communication, nothing.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. See, we need
So
more people like you to.
I mean, I'd love to get into it. I'd love to have people that are like-minded and form a team. I think Jordan Peterson is wonderful. I really respect him a lot, and he's so big now that I don't know if I could access him. and he's super intelligent. He's a very high level person, but he talks about communication and talks about EQ and so on and so forth. But we need more minds that are going to figure it out, that are not um, inflammatory. I don't think I'm an inflammatory person. I don't think so. I could be though. I mean, I could. I could get down on people and usually I get down on I like to bust systems gone wrong. I like to, as I say to my patients, I'm the enemy of their psychopathology. I like to be the enemy of psychopathology
Hmm.
because we got to take it down. It's like cancer, right? I want to be the enemy of cancer. I want to be the preventative of cancer. So, going back to being the cause, no matter who is president of the United States, why don't we be smart? Take advantage of the situation. Okay. I'm invested in stock. I have some stock because I saved money during my lifetime. Well, when Trump announced the that he won the election, my stock went way up. Okay, good. So that's an area where it was beneficial to me. So find the places that the Trump presidential nominee is going to benefit you. If it were Kamala, I'd have to find my way to benefit from her leadership. We all have to because it's our lives. Kamala or Trump is not going to fix your bills or fix your health or nothing, not really. I mean, they'll try the way they can, but ultimately, like I mentioned with food, oh, food prices are so high, they're so high. Well, thankfully and unthankfully, I have some health issues and I can't eat bonbons and I can't go and put a bunch of sugar into my system and eat chocolate chip cookies and
Even though it
Haagen.
sounds good.
Yeah, no, I love that stuff, but you know what? It's over, and because it's over, I just save myself a bundle of money.
Right,
How's that?
right.
Okay, so let's think smart. All right, so now my shopping bills are less because I eat a lot less because my system can't take it. I could try to eat all of that, and guess what? My blood sugar skyrockets, and it's not a smart thing for me to do. So sometimes, there's this saying, some things that make you rich make you poor. Some things that make you poor make you rich. So I'm looking at the advantages. I have some health issues, and I'm thinking that my health issues are actually saving my life. So I can't eat sugar, I can't eat gluten, I can't eat dairy, I can, I can't. So as a result, I'm losing weight. As a result, my cholesterol's pretty good. As a result, my blood sugar is stabilizing. As a result, okay, so is it a good thing that I have health issues? No, but is it a bad thing? No, because now I've got to respect that. I've got to make changes. So that's what I'm telling you guys, that as the climate changes, is that a call?
No,
You there?
no, they were just still talking.
Okay. As the climate changes, take advantage of the climate. Nothing wrong with that.
I agree. Totally agree. You're so
Any other,
smart, Dr. Judy.
yeah, I'm sorry.
I said, you're so smart, Dr. Judy.
I'm so smart that the world is in shambles.
I know. I know.
I'm so smart, I haven't solved this. I haven't solved this.
Actually, here's another question or a comment that says, "Are there any specific like phrases or any type of how to present languages I can express my intentions to reconnect with revisiting past arguments?" I mean, that can go with anything. I know we're on politics today, but how do you reapproach that? How do you reapproach? Because there's a lot of people that they're going to probably regret that they said, I'm not going to talk to my best friend anymore or my mother anymore because of the election. How do you reconnect?
Oh, that's a great question, and I'm glad somebody's asking that because see, that's the human soul. We don't want to stay disconnected from people. Really don't. But we're afraid because if they're going to take such a strong ism stance and not inquire about how we think and what we think and why we think it, then it's not going to be an authentic relationship. It's just going to be, I agree to disagree, and it'll be kind of stifled, right? But
Right.
tell me the question again, like how do you approach it with
How do you,
family members?
are there any
Mhm.
specific phrases or language or of how to approach
All
an
right, I'll model it. Okay, I'm going to use my own peaceful healing dialogue, which is in my book, Be the Cause, that you can order off of Amazon, or if you want, I'll have a free PDF copy sent to you. Okay, so in there is the peaceful healing dialogue. It's also on my website, psychologicalhealingcenter.com under the forms section. So anybody can access it. So, all right, I'm gonna play a role with you, okay,
okay.
Tony. So let's say you're my brother, okay?
Okay.
And we were on different political sides. Like, hey Tony, can I talk to you about that splinter between us, the political splinter.
I'm going to
Is
play it this way is like, I think we've said enough. I don't agree with, and again, I could say, your views are not my stance, and I don't want to be a part of that in my life.
okay, so Tony, you're my brother, okay? And you don't need to take my stance. I don't need to take your stance. I miss you.
I miss you too, but I don't know if our stances can move forward. I don't even know how to say that because so many people have come this way, and I've had people delete me and stuff like that. So yeah, um, I don't know if I can forgive you for what you've said.
Well, maybe it'll end up that way, but I'm sure willing to see if we can be brothers and sisters again because I truly miss you and I have a lot of good memories. Frankly, I just wish you would understand me better and why I'd make the choices that I do, and I'm willing to understand you better too.
Well, let me think about it, and I will do some soul searching, and hopefully we can come to a compromise.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that. I'm just kind of being a little bit picky on the word compromise because compromise
True,
doesn't
because
really, right? Don't you agree? If we
yeah,
compromise,
because you're like it's either going to be this way or nothing. Yeah.
right. Okay. So, Tony, I'm not going to change you. You're not going to change me. Could we at least understand each other and what drove us to our decisions so that we could have more clarity on who we are as people?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we could work that out. I think we could work that out.
I think that would be a big thing because at the end of the day, I just want to be seen and heard. And I get if it's a big disagreement, but I think just to be seen and heard by both of us, either way,
Mhm. Yeah, cuz I want to be seen and heard also.
I think I'd like to do that.
Great. Let's do it.
Okay, so
Perfect.
that would be an example. Okay, and you're right. Sometimes it's just so ismed that there's no coming back from it,
Yeah. 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 And I think
right?
that, I mean, that can work with anything like, people that have been molested, or people have, when you like your mother knew about the father molesting the daughter but didn't do anything. There's a lot of ways to, you know,
You know,
approach that.
that's true. I mean, sometimes there's deal breakers,
Yeah.
okay? Deal breakers. Somebody requested that I shrink a tune, actually.
Oh.
I know, it's been a while.
It
Robert,
has.
I'm gonna see if I can quickly, Robert, and it was about okay, let me see. Oh Father, the lyrics of Oh Father. Okay, let me see. I'll do it quickly. We have a few minutes. Yeah?
Yes, we do it.
Let's see if it's relevant or if I could bridge the relevancy. So this is Madonna's Oh Father. It's funny that way. You can get used to the tears and the pain. What a child will believe you never loved me. You can't hurt me now. I got away from you. I never thought I would. You can't make me cry. You once had the power. I never felt so good about myself. So here's a person that removed themselves, I guess, from the pain. Seems like yesterday I lay down next to your boots and I prayed for your anger to end. Oh, Father, I have sinned. You can't hurt me now. I got away from you. I never thought I would. You can't make me cry. You once had the power. I never felt so good about myself. Oh, Father, you will never wanted to live that way. You never wanted to hurt me. Why am I running away? Oh, Father, you never wanted to live that way. You never wanted to hurt me. Why am I running away? Maybe someday when I look back, I'll be able to say you didn't mean to be cruel. Somebody hurt you too. Um, somebody hurt you too. So this is like, in the best of my understanding, she realized that the perpetrator of the hurt was hurt. So here, the multi-generational transmission. So here's a person that understood the other person through the multi-generational transmission of hurt. And I'm trying to maybe bridge it to our conversation. So, let's say you have a brother or a sister, their cracked lens of perception sees things differently. That's pretty much what our country has come to. Cracked lens of perception sees things differently. What you see as a threat, I may not see as a threat. What you see as a fantastic thing, I might see as a threat. And that's where I think we should have more compassion and understanding toward each other because we have to know that we can't be threatening each other,
No, agree. I agree with that.
right? So, how can we be friends if my belief systems threaten a very integral part of you? That's
Mm-hmm.
not going to work.
No, not at all.
So, this is not easy stuff, is it?
No,
Right?
it's not. It's a tough one.
It's a really tough one. So, again, I reiterate everyone out there, some of you are celebrating, some of you are crying, um, or devastated. Uh, at the end of the day, we have to make the effort toward panel 7, united humanity, and only through putting ourselves in each other's shoes can we even begin to do that. Even begin to. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's no other way.
Right. No, I agree. I agree.
So, okay, everyone, be the cause of better outcomes for your own life, and let's just not blame everything on our political leaders, because, they're not in every aspect of our life. They can't be. We still get to control our thoughts, our emotions, our food, our friends, our careers, our everything. Okay, so be the cause. And get a copy of my book. Maybe put a picture up there, the PDF. There we go. Thanks. You could order it off of Amazon. You can get a PDF copy. Uh, be the cause, you guys, no matter what the outcome of this election. Thank you for joining me. Good night, everyone.